Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we're highlighting a case that happened on the night of August 30th, 2024. Inside a Texas sports bar, music played, drinks flowed, and a family gathered around to celebrate a birthday. But before the night was over, that celebration would be consumed by tragedy. At the center of it all, a 33-year-old mother of two, just hours away from signing divorce papers that promised a brand new life. She never made it to that fresh start. Instead, she came face to face with a stranger, and within seconds, became the victim of a frenzied attack. How did a night of joy turn into a night of such horror? And how did a deadly connection no one saw coming end up shattering an entire family forever? This is the story of Brittany Richard. Brittany Richard was 33 years old and a devoted mother to two children, ages 13 and 9. In August 2024, she was standing at a crossroads in her life. After years of marriage troubles, Brittany was finally ready to close one chapter and begin another. She was scheduled to sign divorce papers on the very day she was murdered. Papers that would officially end her marriage and give her the fresh start that she had been working towards. At the time, Brittany worked as an accountant for the city of Lamarck, where she was known as a popular employee. She had built a stable career that would support her and her children as she moved into this new phase of her life. For Brittany, this wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about reclaiming her life and focusing on what mattered most, her children. She was ready to build her future, one where she could be free from her past. But Brittany would never get the chance to sign those papers. Her new beginning was cut short in the most brutal way imaginable. Those who knew Brittany described her as a woman who put her family first. Her colleagues knew her as a dedicated professional who brought the same care and attention to her work that she brought to motherhood. And the tragedy of her death was magnified by the fact that she was so close to achieving independence that she had been working so hard for. Her family would later reflect on how cruel it was that someone so focused on building a better future for her children would never get to see that future come to pass. Friday, August 30th, 2024, was supposed to be a night of celebration for the Richard family. Brittany's younger cousin was celebrating her birthday, and the family had gathered at Time Out Sports Bar number 5 in Texas City to mark the occasion. It was the kind of family get-together Brittany loved, surrounded by people she cared about, enjoying good times before starting her new chapter. But as the night wore on, something would go horribly wrong. What should have been another joyous time would become a family's worst nightmare. As the evening progressed at the sports bar, Brittany's younger cousin excused herself to the restroom. But when she was returning back from the restroom, she found herself face to face with two women who she didn't recognize. Without warning, without provocation, the two strangers attacked. The birthday girl was stabbed by these unknown assailants in an assault that caught everyone by surprise. The sounds of the celebration quickly turned to screams of terror as the family realized what was happening. And Brittany Richard did what came naturally to her. She rushed to her cousin's defense. When Brittany saw her cousin being attacked, she didn't hesitate. She immediately stepped in to help, trying to protect the young woman who was supposed to be celebrating her special day. But Brittany's courageousness would end up costing her everything. As she came to her cousin's aid, the attackers turned onto her with a vicious fury. Brittany was stabbed 9 times in the assault. 9 brutal wounds inflicted by women who, according to her family, she had never even met before that night. The attack was swift, merciless, and devastating. The chaos at the bar was overwhelming. Witnesses called 911 as Brittany fought for her life. But the damage had been done. The 9 stab wounds were too severe. The blood loss too great. Brittany Richard, the mother of 2 children who had been planning to start a new life, died at the scene around 12:30 a.m. Her cousin, who had also been stabbed, survived the attack. The assailants fled the scene, leaving behind a family torn apart by senseless violence and a community struggling to understand how something so brutal could happen in their neighborhood. But the investigation into Brittany's murder was only the beginning. Houston police quickly launched a manhunt for 2 women who had carried out the deadly assault. The investigation moved swiftly, and within days, they had their primary suspect in custody. 35-year-old Shanice Felder was arrested in Houston and charged with murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Her bond was set at $450,000. But when investigators began digging into Felder's connection to Brittany Richard, they uncovered a shocking truth that would reveal the true motive behind the deadly attack. The investigation revealed a connection that no one had expected. Shanice Felder wasn't just a random stranger who had attacked Brittany Richard out of nowhere. She was the current girlfriend of Brittany's ex-husband, the same man Brittany was about to divorce. According to Brittany's family, the 2 women had never had any prior dealings with each other. They had never met, never argued, never had any kind of conflict at all. Yet Felder had tracked Brittany down to a family celebration and murdered her in cold blood. The motive seemed clear. Felder had killed the woman who had once been married to her current partner. But the senselessness of it all left Brittany's family struggling to comprehend the reasoning. Brittany Richard, Brittany's mother, spoke to the media in the aftermath of her daughter's murder. "If I could ask her anything, I would ask her why," she said, "and why that night." It was a question that haunted the entire family. Why had Felder chosen that particular night to strike? Why had she targeted a woman who was simply trying to start fresh? And why had she felt the need to kill someone who had never done anything to her? These questions would linger as the case moved through the legal system. The murder of Brittany Richard represents one of the most devastating types of domestic violence: the killing of a woman by her ex-partner's new girlfriend. Brittany had been trying to do everything right. She was going through the proper legal channels to end her marriage. She was focusing on her children and her future. She had every right to expect that she could rebuild her life without fear of violence from people she'd never even met before. But Felder's actions turned Brittany's fresh start into a death sentence. Brittany Richard was in the middle of taking control of her life. Today, Her family is still awaiting justice as the case makes its way through the legal system. Her 2 children are growing up without their mother, and her loved ones are continuing to cope with the aftermath of such a violent tragedy. Shanice Felder remains in custody, awaiting trial on charges of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. The legal proceedings will determine her fate, but nothing can bring back Brittany. The case serves as a glaring reminder that domestic violence doesn't always end when the relationship ends. My thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of Brittany Richard as they continue their journey towards closure and healing. As we close out this episode, don't forget to click the follow button to stay updated on Brittany's case and others like it. Be sure to subscribe to Hunting for Answers on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more true crime content and case updates. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop your thoughts on this case in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.